Right now at 6, face to face with the man who murdered a Clark County deputy.
There is no form of justice that might feel the equivalent of something so senseless.
Plus, a rideshare driver ripped off by scammers.
I was almost like in a blind rage because I was so upset.
The warning for anyone who drives for a living.
And traffic trouble coming to a Portland highway near you. Where and when a stretch of road will be completely shut down and how to make your way around the mess.
Good evening, everyone. We begin at 6 with an Oregon man who will spend the rest of his life behind bars after killing a Clark County Sheriff's deputy. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. Sergeant Jeremy Brown was doing surveillance work on alleged gun runners when prosecutors say the suspect snuck up behind him and shot him. Thomas Schultz was in the courtroom today and joins us now. Thomas?
Yeah, Laurel and David, Sergeant Jeremy Brown's family tells me justice was served today. And while they want to put this trial behind them, they say even with a life sentence, nothing can repair the scale of their loss.
He was our compass.
A wife and family lost in grieving.
Jeremy was an exceptional human.
Once happy.
But trauma such as this changes you.
Clark County Sergeant Jeremy Brown was murdered more than 2 years ago. He was doing surveillance in an unmarked car, investigating this man, Guillermo Rea Leon.
We had built a beautiful life together, but today not one piece of it remains the same.
Prosecutors say Leon, his brother and stepsister-in-law stole dozens of guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition from a storage facility. Court documents say Rea Leon became suspicious they were being watched at a Clark County apartment, pointing out Brown in his SUV. Then, prosecutors say Leon approached Brown's car and shot him.
To give a human no chance of survival, to give a human no notice of it being their last few seconds to live, and to shoot someone in the back and leave them there to die simply shows us all what kind of person this human is.
Defense attorneys say Leon made the biggest mistake of his life, though
he does maintain, Your Honor, that he never premeditated the death of Jeremy Brown.
Prosecutors say Leon did mull over the decision before pulling the trigger.
This punishment is less than you deserve.
And despite the ruling, family members tell us it doesn't bring closure. The only thing for Brown's fellow deputies to do, comfort the family that's lost its compass. And while it doesn't heal the pain, Brown's family says it does bring some peace and a chance for the family to exhale after the third person involved, Misty Rea, Leon's sister-in-law, agreed to 25 years in prison for second-degree murder. Laurel?
And we want to extend our condolences to the family. Thank you, Thomas. To headlines now, a developing story out of McMinville where police say an improvised explosive device went off in front of a home early this morning. Someone who lives near Northeast 11th and Evans Streets reported an explosion about 2:45 this morning. The force of that explosion knocked out a car window and 3 windows in the house, peppered the home and another car with shrapnel, and left a crater in a flower bed. No one was hurt. Police are asking anyone who lives nearby for doorbell camera footage that might have captured the suspect's vehicle. We do have a crew on the way to McMinville right now, and they'll bring you more tonight at 11.
A 15-year-old is now charged with murder following a shooting in Gresham. This happened near Burnside and Division back on September 24th. The victim, 16-year-old Alexander Ortiz de Jesus, was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. A week later, officers arrested that teenage suspect, and we have now learned that the victim has died.
It's hard to understand when it's 2 kids involved. It's a struggle for everyone. We don't want to take away at all from what the family is going to, but it's hard for everyone.
Well, this marks the 5th murder investigation in Gresham so far this year.
Crime Stoppers of Oregon is offering up to $2,500 for information that could lead to an arrest in the hit-and-run death of Maria Negretta. On September 18th, a single mother of 5 got out of a car on the road to pick up a cell phone she dropped out the window. And that's when a driver hit her and drove away without stopping. Here's a look at some details about the time and the place of the hit and run. Police don't know the make or the model of the car that hit Negretta or any details about the driver. You can anonymously submit a tip at any time to crimestoppersoforegon.com.
Federal investigators have revealed the likely cause of a floatplane crash that killed 10 people in Puget Sound. The plane was flying to Renton from Friday Harbor over Labor Day weekend 2022 when it crashed near Whidbey Island. According to the NTSB, the plane's horizontal stabilizer, that is the movable tail surface that controls the plane's pitch, was missing a lock ring that allowed a nut to come unscrewed. The pilot lost control. The aircraft went into a nosedive. The FAA has now issued a directive requiring operators of that type of seaplane to make some changes. The families of the pilot and passengers have filed lawsuits against several of the companies involved in the plane's production and operation.
The state of Oregon is getting more than $650,000 as part of a settlement over a 2020 data breach that exposed the personal data of millions of people. 50 states and the District of Columbia sued the company Blackbaud, which provides software services to nonprofits. They allege Blackbaud failed to prevent the breach and delayed notifying people whose information was exposed. 174 organizations in Oregon were impacted. Per the settlement, Blackbaud agreed to overhaul its data security and breach notification practices.
Boy, what a day today in weather. The big story, of course, is how warm it was. We made 81 degrees in Portland today. That's a full 12 degrees above average for this day, but still below the record of 90 for the 5th of October here in the Rose City. 80s throughout the metro area. We had 80s even at the Oregon coast, 82 at Tillamook. And in fact, out at Cannon Beach right now, it's still 73 after making it up to the 80s earlier today. So again, just a stellar day. And the great thing is it was not a one and done, not a one-off at all. Not finding any cloud in Oregon right now, but I am finding wildfire smoke. You can see this thin stripe on the north side of Mount Jefferson, but even up in the Cascades, it's in the 60s. So really mild weather continuing through tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow's even warmer. Get up to 84 when you get up and go in the morning, in the 60s. So a warm morning, warm afternoon, and we'll do that again on Saturdays. So really great. Clear, breezy overnight. Sunny and warm Friday, still breezy. Those are the headlines, and a nice sunny warm weekend on the way. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit about the forecast for the upcoming annular eclipse. It happens not this weekend, but the following weekend. Guys,
looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Pat. If you're planning to hit the road to soak up all that sunshine, there is a big detour you should know about.
There sure is. A section of Interstate 84 will be closed in both directions starting tomorrow night. Our Ashley Grams joins us with a look at where this closure starts. Ashley?
Yeah, Laurel, we're on 84 westbound right now, and we're actually right at the point that drivers are going to have to detour. So I'm going to actually flip the camera around right now, give you a shot of the road. You are going to be forced to take this 205 exit, and that's because 84 will be closed in both directions. That starts tomorrow night at 10 and goes through the weekend until the interstate reopens at 4 in the morning on Monday. So don't worry about a morning commute or about that Friday commute, but it is going to impact our weekend travelers. As for alternative routes, if you're headed west, you can take a short detour like we did onto 205 South, then back onto I-84. If you're headed east, it's a bit more complicated detour that will take you onto Gleason and 205 and eventually back to I-84. This two-day closure is giving TriMet time to add another set of tracks, 2 new bridges, and a red line station platform. So as you can see, this on-ramp right now fairly busy, and after we talked to ODOT, they said expect these delays, expect to see more folks on the road here, and that's exactly what we're already seeing right now. So plan for those delays. Yeah, Ashley, as you touched on, this is all part of the Better Red project on the MAX. People headed to and from the airport, they've been taking shuttle buses from Gateway since June. When is the rail line going to reopen? Right, TriMet expects that to reopen on Sunday, October 22nd. So that's in just a couple weeks. We're getting fairly close. Once they finish that, they'll start extending the red line west from Beaverton to Hillsborough. Of course, we have all the details about this project and more about the detour on our website, KGW.com. David? Ashley Graham's getting the word out in Drive 8. Thanks, Ashley. Coming up tonight on The Story, more than 2 months after Portland's first large sanctioned campsite for homeless people opened in Southeast, there is still space available. Let's bring in Blair Best now with a preview. Blair? That's right. In order to get inside the site, a homeless person needs to have a referral. But to get that referral, an outreach worker has to find them first. Currently, there are about 30 outreach workers working to connect with people on the streets, and it's not clear how exactly they pick which camps to target. But we've found many homeless people who want to get inside the village aren't getting connected to those services. Now, as of this week, 134 people are living there, and it has room for 45 more.
I've called them up and, of course, take the name and the number, and no calls back.
It struggles out here. There's no place, there's no resources really for us to do anything.
If they're not filling that place up, I think they're actually kind of cheating the city of Portland.
Now, tonight, we finally heard back from the spokesperson for Urban Alchemy. That's the group that runs the site. He's based in California, but tells us they're working as hard as they can to get people off the streets and into the site, but that it's difficult. The city says they're actively working to open a second mass encampment, and they plan to announce the location of that one sometime next week. David, Laurel.
Thank you, Blair.